Beautiful beings of the universe, welcome to now. Let's use our cute Buddha and candle for spreading and making good vibes. In this video, I'm going to suggest you, it's a very good suggestion, that for the next 30 days, you just speak this to yourself and maybe write it down on a paper. I am a boundless force of positivity, capable of achieving anything I set my mind to, and I attract success and happiness, health, wealth, abundance, love, and joy effortlessly. And do this for 30 days and just feel the difference in your own subconscious mind. So, when the world throws a lot of negativity to you because they see your light and they want to break you, know that you might feel weak for a while, but then you will definitely get back up because you have the energy connected to the source. So these energy vampires cannot truly detract you from your destiny. The thing that was meant for you, it's precisely meant for you, and nobody can take that away from you. So you need not get into street fight with anybody. You need not get into any sort of accusation or war with anybody else. Just let them say whatever they want to say. Let them do whatever they want to do. All that you got to do is stay focused and believe in yourself. Probably that is the most challenging part, to believe in yourself, because we are told that always the happiness and support would come from external. But now we are turning and learning to go inwards and trying to get that help from within our own self, even though that might feel very challenging initially. But there you are. You have got all the answers that that you actually needed the answers from the external world. All of those things are internal. So just start from there and know that you are the greatest provider for yourself. You need not depend on anybody else. In fact, do not depend on anybody else for any support. You be your greatest support. You be your greatest lover. You be your greatest cheerleader. You know what I say? You know what I'm trying to give the message about. You be your own best friend. Take yourself out to the places that you want to go. Take yourself out to whatever trips you want to do. Learn to have a good self-talk with your own self. And above all, also learn to watch your own negativity when your mind says, I can't do that. It's too difficult for me. I feel like I'm dying. Probably these are just exaggeration of your mind. You're not actually dying. It's only your mind which is trying to delude you into so many things. So know that the true enemy is not external world. The true enemy is not outside there. The true enemy is our own mind. And we got to learn how to fight with our own mind, because in our own mind we have got the dualities. The higher self and the lower self. The lower self which tells you it's too difficult. I cannot study. I cannot concentrate. I'm so fool. So if you're a student and your friends or somebody in your class who scores very well, they are very intelligent, and if you think, oh, I'm not able to study, I'm not able to score well, it's because you are not sitting with your own self at that point where you feel, I cannot do this anymore. Just do it. Like, just go through it. And I know it's more easy to say than do. But for example, if you're solving a math problem, or you're studying economics, or you're studying science, and you feel this subject is too difficult for me, and you just want to run away, you just want to grab your phone and look at something else, look at some reels, some Instagram, some TikTok, and then that one scroll takes you down that rabbit hole, and that you just thought that probably I'm going to take 15-minute break, but that 15-minute break turns into 5 hours break, right? And then you've just wasted your whole day. Because it's easy to delude ourselves that by watching all these motivational videos and masters talk, you are becoming like them. But truly, it needs the work that we got to do on our own self. Like, one master can only show you that there is the water, you've got to drink it. So the drinking has to happen from us. The action needs to be taken by us. And before we can take the action, I don't want to scare you by saying, you've got to have lot of confidence within yourself. Because when you say these big terms like I need to have confidence and motivation, it's so difficult. Because more often than not, we find ourselves weak. And we just got to be honest that we are not like Superman all the time. So don't we don't have to be so hard on ourselves that, oh, if somebody is being number one in the class, I've also got to be. Your job is just to make yourself better than where you are. So if you're like an average student, your job might be to improve your average level. Job might not be to be number one in the class, but at least improve yourself every day by small percentage. Like James Clear talks in his book, Atomic Habits. The problem is we want to challenge ourselves with a lot of work set out in one day. But truly, when we walk the talk, we can do very little because we face our own challenges, like how the real growth happens in extreme slowness. This whole idea of something fast, doing everything fast, is such an illusion. You see, even before you were born, you were in your mother's womb for 9 months. You did not come out in a day. Look at a plant. Once you have planted some seeds in the soil, it does not just grow out on its own so quick. It might take 3 months, 6 months' time. And for the proper flourishing of that tree, it might take 10, 20 years. Anything that you want to do worthwhile is going to take time. If you're in a rush, it's only going to leave you astray and confused. Anything that you're going to do valuable, that is worthwhile, which needs to have clarity, everything needs time. Be it whatever you are having a goal, doing things very fast, that's not how it's done. Even if you're cooking, if you're just rushing too fast to put everything in place and just fast cook your food, it's not going to taste that well. But if you do things with the right time, with the right energy, with the right mix of ingredients, spices, oil, doing things at its own time, then you can see, even though your food might take you 40 minutes to make, but when you actually eat it, you can relish it more. It's got some taste now. But if you just want to rush up your cooking in within 10 minutes, fast cooking, you just want it fast, it's just going to taste so boring. So we need to have patience with our own self. Patience with our own self, that we allow ourselves to fail, that we allow ourselves to feel the pain. Allow yourself to sit with the pain. That's when you can learn. Just learn to be with the pain, be it emotional pain or physical pain. Because without being in the pain, you cannot feel the other side of comfort. So also that means do not run away from negativity, because the more you are trying to ascend on your own consciousness levels, the uh, more amount of negativity the world is going to throw at you. It's just plain and clear. The fact that you have a lot of haters and enemies is a clear sign that you're on the right path. If you were just blinded like rest of the people, nobody is going to come in your way. They find you safe as long as you're sleeping, as long as you're acting like a fool. The moment you have taken to your own path, now people start comparing and competing with you. So you need not go back to sleep just because you are in the fear that, oh, they just want to tear me down. Keep going. Even if you feel like, why are these people just coming out all the time just to make and throw their negative vibes on you? It does not matter. See it for what it is. When a plant is growing, the plant doesn't say, why is the sun being so strong today? The plant and the little seedling, the sapling, doesn't complain, why is the wind so strong? Why is the rain coming so heavy on me? She just lets it. So just learn from those little saplings. They are very good teachers. I learn a lot from those little plants, little saplings. They do not have any sort of resistance And they nor are they very strong. You see, are they very strong? They are very delicate. They are very soft. And this is the thing: if you truly want to grow, you've got to be vulnerable. You cannot be strong and sturdy and be a macho man. Now I'm going to learn. No. Learning means that you've got to be very absolute vulnerable. You've got to be soft. You've got to be delicate. Only then you're malleable. You're like the soil which an artist tries to make out of that clay. So if the clay is so hard and stiff, guess what? The artist does. The artist then puts in more water and breaks the clay. So now it's soft and malleable. Now he can create or sculpt out of that clay. But not before. If you think you're too strong and you're so solid, that's not how it is. Any sort of learning means breaking down. You've got to break yourself. Any sort of learning, be it you want to learn keyboard, piano, music, theory behind, or theory of your subjects that you are studying at your school, at your college. Any sort of learning means that you've got to go down on your knees and you need to be humble before you can learn. You cannot go to a teacher and say, teach me. Here's your money, pay. No, a real teacher is going to, first of all, break your ego and make you like water. And from there you learn. You've just got to let go of your ego. Ego is for somebody who thinks that they know a lot and they have already got everything sorted. That's not you need to have a beginner's mind. Beginner's mind means a zero mind. Means even if you know things, you still start from that zero. You've got to start from zero. Because from zero, you get a state of clarity. Zero is like a blank piece of paper. So even though you think that you know a lot of stuffs and you already wrote down all these things before, but you come back to this zero, blank slate. Because the beginner's mind is like a fresh mind. It's like a child's mind. It's like a fresh little sapling which is just starting to grow. So, and oftentimes you might feel, oh, the older thoughts come and it says, I already know this, I already know that, I'm already there. Why should I go back and start? But sometimes starting all over is good. Because starting all over means that you're keeping your entire story afresh and anew. So it's important to have a beginner's mind. It's important to be malleable, to be not too hard, to not have very strong notions, not only of the external world, not only let that define you, but even your own thoughts about yourself, even your own limitations about yourself. So you need to break that down also. Don't even believe your own thoughts about yourself. Of course, you're going to cut off the society from those non-believers who think that you are a fool. That noise you got to cancel. Then the second noise, which is your inner mind, which says you are a fool. That noise also needs to be cancelled out. Everything, it's all about going backwards. Learning is actually a process of going backwards, because unless and until you have not gone backwards, you have not gone downwards, you have not gone in the minus, you cannot go in the plus. Plus is about acquiring. So unless you have not learned, you cannot make something out of it. So it's all a process of going backwards and being absolutely honest. I don't know this. Absolutely honest with yourself. You cannot fool around that. And you can also not blame others like, oh, they did this to me. They are so wrong. So they did this to me. Now what? That is the situation. That is the pre-environment set. Now what? How are you going to fix that? How long are you going to sit in that thing that they did me wrong? There would come a point in time when you're absolutely honest with yourself and you say, no, this is what I've got to have. So even if they did me wrong, I'll find my own way. If not through X, through Y. If not through Y, through Z. Some of the solution needs to be figured out. And more often than not, we want to keep postponing the solutioning because we don't want to feel the pain of another rejection of that solution. So you might have thought that I tried this thing two, three times and didn't work out. So the fourth time I try, maybe now it should work out. And somewhere inside you, you have this expectancy that I want this to work out. I want this done. Because you're also frustrated with how things didn't work out. And you want to not face your own frustrations. But that is the place where you got to learn. It's very difficult. It's not nice, but we've got to keep trying till we get the stuff that we wanted, till we have truly learned that art that we wanted, till we have truly learned to paint. Until you have not learned it, you cannot just keep on getting frustrated because your initial portraits were not so great. They were just too average. And what if it might take you years of work before you can do that perfect portrait? So we've got to be honest whether what we are doing is that are we really invested into putting in the effort, because many times we just want the end result but we are not ready for doing that hard work, because that means breaking down, that means going backwards, that means unlearning, that means coming back to zero, beginner's mind. That's not easy. That's not easy, because all of that means you've got to sit with your own unknown. You got to face your own unknown. See, the real challenge with learning a thing is what I have seen through in my observation of life is the more you try and push through to cut your limits, you find yourself time and again at the same limit, and you feel that it's like a it's like a ceiling, and you have hit that ceiling. You're not able to go beyond, and then you just got to keep trying. And internally, there's a resistance in you that says, "How long should I try? Why is this thing not working? Why am I not able to learn that? Why is this taking me so forever?" Now, the other side of the mind also knows that for in order to be able to do, you've got to put more work in, and it's challenging because we don't want to do the work. Somehow, we just want a solution. Because sitting with the problem is not nice. Sitting with the problem means you do not know. Sitting with the unknown, basically. Living through the cloud of unknown, because you don't know what tomorrow holds. You don't know if what you're aiming for, you're going to get it or not. You don't know. So the answer here is just patience. We just need to learn and learn to sit with our own selves. And the biggest challenge is your biggest demons are inside you. So even if you're sitting alone in your house, still you feel that there are so much there's just too many noise inside your head. Even you might be just alone with yourself, still there's too much noise, and you just want to cut that noise. So do some breath work. Breath work is good in that way, because the breath and thought are actually interlinked. If you are focusing on your breath, you cannot have a thought at the same time. You cannot have these two states together. Either you're focused on your breathing, so all of your attention is focused on your breathing in and out, or your mind is not in your breath, your mind is thinking about something. I need to do this, I need to cook that, I need to make a call, I need to do this, she didn't do that, he didn't do that. So the way to grounding is by doing some breath work, by focusing your eyes onto something. Uh, you might just do watching off the candle. You can just look at the flame, or you might even making art is very meditative, because your eyes are constantly focused on the tip of your pen and how it moves. So that is also very meditative. Taking a look at something and drawing that, or even creating something out of your own imagination. That is also very much meditative because during that time your mind is not racing. And only from a blank state of mind can you learn. Because if you have the notion that you already know, you cannot learn that thing. Learning, why the reason that learning feels painful is because of your past experience. Because learning was not made interesting and fun at school, at college. It was always like you're at the fear that if you don't pass the exam, it's going to bring shame to you. So learning has always been like you learn from fear. But if learning is turned into an interesting game, now you can have fun learning. But as long as there's fear, you cannot truly learn a thing. Even even the most fanciest thing, like for example, cooking. If you want to learn cooking, and if you approach it with a thing like, I've got to be a professional chef and get this degree and certificate, it's going to scare you a lot because now you are more concerned about I should meet the standard, do this, that, and I need to be aligned as per this format. But if you just enjoy cooking and you just learn for the love of it, some new dish, there is love in that. You're not very much scared of cooking now, of what happens if the dish does not come out nice. You just experiment and you create out of love. And same way we can think about this even while learning instrument, like playing a good, interesting guitar piece, a Spanish nice buleria, or some nice interesting piece, very beautiful classical piece that you want to learn, and you heard the sound on some guitarist playing on YouTube so fancy, so perfectly, and you want to learn that immediately. But that artist has played that and he or she has learned that piece for many years, for 10 years maybe, and you just want to do it right now. Of course it's not going to be that perfect, but at least you can get the skeleton of that, you can get the chord sheet, you can get to play that, but not exactly like how those people are playing so perfectly. So it's all about giving our attention and energies to learn something, because we want to compare our 1 day of work with somebody's 10 years of work. That is a very abrupt comparison, and that goes on to all the subjects of your life. You see somebody financially very well because they have educated themselves, they have learned, and their learning was not easy. Nobody immediately knows about shares and market and how finances work, how stocks work, how mutual funds work. But first of all, the thing is, are you interested in that? And if you're interested in that, know that learning is not going to just be a cakewalk. You've got to fail, you've got to experiment. There is so much trial and error that you need to make before you call yourself a good financial advisor, before people come to you for getting your financial advice, before you show up your portfolio and say, look, I have built this and that. And everything is a lot of work, be it music or finance or anything. Even if you want to be a poet, it's not that the first poem that you write is going to be make you like a rock star. You've got to keep experimenting with where you are. Just because you saw some great poet on YouTube and on his videos there are million views doesn't make, oh, he just spoke 4 lines of his poetry and see he's got millions of views. I can do that too. So you go ahead and try some piece, or you write your own poetry, for example, for 4 lines, and you find out that, oh, it's not sounding that perfect as that other guy who's just made it so perfect, because he has perfected that craft. He has worked on that for a long time, maybe 4 years, and you just think that it's just 4 lines, I can do it right now. That's not true. But again, it's not a rule. Probably if you're in that phase and creativity just flows through you and you are able to express however your spirit tells you to do, maybe you give it a shot, you speak those 4 lines, and maybe that becomes a viral video. But again, just having this end result oriented approach is not, should be avoided. Like, it's nice to have a long term view of where you want to go, but also to have a short term view where what you are doing right now matters. But again, it's a blend of the two. Like if you do not have a vision where you're going, what are you actually doing in the now? So it's a marriage between these two, your vision and what you're doing now. So, in terms of simple example, if you want to have a good dinner and you want to make yourself some nice dinner, for example, uh, let's say you want to make some puri and some vegetarian curry with that. So, you have a goal. I want to make this for my dinner. Now you go about getting the ingredients and you make it. And by 1 hour time, you would have your dinner. Same way, like if you need to be able to select what is exactly that you want to do, because your mind is interested in saying, I like this, I like that, I like poetry, I like music, I like dancing, I like singing. And I probably you're a multifaceted human being who wants to explore too many things, and you do not just want to restrict yourself to any one skill. And that's okay. Why restrict yourself? But know that if you want to perfect any one thing, then that very one thing is going to require attention and time. Apart from that, you can experiment and do whatever you want to do. But then it's a horizontal approach of life wherein you are trying these things, and it's a horizontal thing. Whereas getting perfection into one solid thing is a vertical approach. You are focusing all of your energy, time, money onto that one thing. But the way the mind is that while you are trying to focus on one thing, it says, no, this is boring. Let me go ahead and try something else. So if you are doing a painting, your mind says, okay, this is nice, but I just want to get over it and I want to play that music. I want to learn that piece. I want to create a new song. So then when you're doing that, then you think, no, I want to learn better video making. So your mind is constantly running from A point to B point to C point. It's constantly on the run. So there again, sit with yourself, sit with your mind. That's how we are going to learn. There's no other special way. But Jiddu Krishnamurti says though that before you learn, the most important thing is that you come to a state of absolute observation. And in that state of observation, you are watching your own resistance to what you say, I don't know. Challenge that. Don't believe it. Mind that says, I don't know. Don't believe it. Just take a good look at it. Just take a good look at that thing that you're trying to understand. If you don't get it, do that all over again. It's just about looking into the details of it. Just a closer look. That's what is observation. And we are going to just do that observation. It's just about zooming in. If you can zoom in well, then you can learn well. Maybe a new language or calligraphy, anything. Calligraphy in turn is another example. You need to be so much focused. Any point in time, any second you miss your mind, and your letter that you are trying to write goes out of the flow. So all these things are very much to center your mind, because it needs 100% of your attention. Anything that needs 100% of your attention. Maybe if you are a car racer, they need to have absolute attention in their game. They cannot miss be absent minded. That would lead to an accident. They've got to be extremely careful because they are driving at very high speed and they are in a race. They've got to be extremely sharp, absolutely aware. That's meditation. So observation. We're just going to observe. Observe the problem statement that you are faced with while you are learning something. Just observation, deep observation. And you will find while you're trying to observe, there will be resistance from the mind. There will be other mind which will say, oh, let's go and have some tea. Let me drink some water. Don't move, just sit with it. Just observe, because observation is the only solution. Else you're going to get into a mind fight, which is like fighting a bull on the just someplace. Of course, you're going to get defeated because mind is very strong and you've got older conditioning and habit that says, last time I tried, I didn't learn it. It's so hard. And probably that might not happen in a day. Then sit with it the next day. Then sit with it the third day. And this whole failure thing, that every day you sit with that thing and it attacks you back and you did not learn, is actually a, you might see to it like it's a failure on your part. But that's okay. Just learn patiently with yourself. Just learn to have more patience with yourself. See to yourself like you're a small child, and your higher self like the mother. So the mother does not beat, should not ideally beat the child because the child is so slow at learning. Just allow and encourage your child to learn, and that's how they will learn. And don't threat them with, oh, if you don't learn, I'll beat you. Then they'll get very scared and not sure if a child truly learns in a scared environment. Maybe sometimes it would work, but more often if you give them a relaxed environment, they will learn. So it's like you treat yourself like a small child, and you need not be too hard on yourself. But sometimes you also need to be hard on yourself when you see your inner child in you is just taking you for a toss. It says, I want this, I want that, I don't want to learn this. Then you've got to be strict with yourself and say, shut up and just be it. Stop dancing around. This is your time to just learn it. Yeah. So this is how we can learn. As I'm telling you, I'm also doing all of this self introspection on my own self because I've got a lot of things to learn which I've been postponing because of this whole fear of failure that, oh, it's so difficult. That is the voice in the head which says it's so difficult. How would I learn? So, for example, learning sheet music has always been challenging for me. I always see to it like it's so complex a code. How does somebody learn it? And every time I start learning I take the baby steps, right? Because I'm starting from zero. And I've been starting from zero for a long time because I just never had the courage to go all the way and truly learn sheet music. And I always had, there's a resistance in me that builds up and says, oh, just get out of this. I don't want to learn. It's too much theory, it's too much technical. And there's a mind side of me which says, I do not want to follow the rules and logic. So I'm just going to create whatever I feel like, wherever my fingers flow. But but I also got another book on music theory, and the writer of the book, who's very nice gentleman, he says that of course you need to learn the music theory. It's not that there are artists who can make and play music without knowing the music theory. Like Ray Charles, he was not a learned artist, he was not a learned musician, but his music is awesome, just awesome. So there are a lot of artists like that who are not technically educated theoretically, but they make it. So somewhere inside me I have that same mindset that if they can do it, I can do it too. But learning the theory and learning the technical aspect of music is essential. But because there is this resistance in the mind that says you don't want to get into that because it's just too technical, and that reminds you of your previous childhood lessons wherein there was a difficult subject and how you face the challenges at learning that thing. So just your older memories gets kicked in of pain and fear. So it's just about learning to sit with that unpleasantness. Because the thing is that all of the problems of the world, you see, it's not just about one problem, that because the mindset behind a problem is going to remain the same before you approach any problem. So if you can solve any one problem truly in your life, that is the key to all of your other problems. And truly, this is the case. Don't think I'm just saying something out of the blue. If you learn how to fix any of the solution for a problem and you know exactly how you have done that, now you hold the key to do perform the same steps behind any other problem that you have. but it's just about having the courage to sit with the unpleasant, just about having the courage to sit with your failed experiments, and having the courage to take those dead bodies and make it work all over again. It's a totally experimental thing, it's a totally scientific thing. What does the scientist do? They are just observing. They are just observing they do not have any goal. I'm going to invent this and I'm going to invent that. A scientist is always just about, they are just observing whatever it is, and from there they come to know that, okay, this is how things are happening, and then they document it. And pretty much same is the case of you solving your problems, because it's just about observation. You just take a deep look at the problem statement, so then you can have the answer. And sometimes you may or may not have the answer, but you should still have the courage to go through everything, to take a deep dive, to be able to zoom in into that ugly space which you want to run away from, which you want to avoid. So that's all I wanted to share in this video. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. Bye.